Now at 9, Miami, Oklahoma authorities help bring in an alleged drug kingpin from California.
President Biden makes a trek to Capitol Hill for a meeting with lawmakers. I'm Mallory Rivera with a closer look at what's holding up his domestic agenda.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Police in Miami, Oklahoma helped take down an alleged California drug kingpin accused of shipping thousands of pounds of meth to the 4-state area. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with Miami's chief of police to learn more.
Luis ALFREDO JACOBO is now behind bars. This alleged California kingpin is accused of running drug rings that brought around 2,000 pounds of meth to northern Oklahoma and southwest Missouri.
This ring was just bringing in tons and tons of methamphetamine, starting in Mexico, bringing it in through California, over to Oklahoma and the distribution network here through the Midwest.
JACOBO was arrested on Monday in Bakersfield, California, and one of the arresting officers is a member of the Miami Police Department. The Miami PD teamed up with police in Grove, the DEA, the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, and many other investigative agencies to bring JACOBO and his conspirators to justice.
They started this case, worked it here, worked the case backwards up through the kingpin, if you will, and flew out there with the DEA task force and finished up their case.
Miami Police Chief Thomas Anderson says local low-level arrests helped his team connect meth in Miami to the larger drug ring.
There were several local arrests, and you end up going to their buyer, or just working your way up the chain. But it does start with just local people using drugs and getting arrested. 9
other people were arrested with JACOBO on various drug conspiracy and criminal enterprise charges, including William Donovan Johnson III and Shawnee Brianne Kaleji of Grove and Kelly Wayne Bryan of Joplin. In Miami, Oklahoma, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Miami Police Chief Anderson also says he expects more local arrests connected to this drug ring. Quapaw man is going to serve life in prison for sexually abusing a minor and illegally possessing parts of protected eagles. Back in May, Carl Ortner was convicted of abusing a minor on tribal land in 2016. Because the crime happened on tribal land, it falls under federal jurisdiction. In addition to the sexual abuse, Ortner was convicted of possessing feathers, talons, and heads from 7 bald eagles and 7 golden eagles. In addition to life in prison, a U.S. district judge ordered Carl Ortner to pay a $100,000 fine. Crawford County Sheriff says one of the suspects in a pursuit nearly hit a deputy during the chase. This is an update to a story we brought you yesterday. That chase started around noon when Crawford County deputies say they tried to stop a suspected stolen car. The driver didn't stop, and that's when the sheriff says the deputy tried to deploy stop sticks and was nearly hit by the fleeing car. After a chase that ended in a bean field in rural Barton County, Missouri, authorities arrested 2 people. One of those suspects, Justin Cochran of Pittsburgh, has already been charged in Missouri. Charges are still pending in Kansas, however. Police say the car they were driving was confirmed as stolen out of Joplin. Doug Heady joining us now. Nice, mild Friday today, Doug.
Yeah, it actually turned out to be a pretty good day for us today. We have had some scattered showers and thunderstorms again, but not near as widespread as what we have seen over the past couple days, but near 80. Average high is 76, so right about where we should be for the beginning of October. And you can see we still have a few scattered little thunderstorms, mainly in southwestern parts of Missouri. Good news here is most of us are dry, so we've been able to squeeze in all those high school football games. Still some scattered little thunderstorms, Berry County, McDonald County, and then stretching into Benton County of northwestern parts of Arkansas. We do have more thunderstorms in the forecast. I'll break that down for you here in just a bit.
All right, Doug, thanks so much as always. Empty Bowls pre-sales are underway. Empty Bowls is an annual fundraiser in which patrons buy a handcrafted pottery bowl, enjoy a serving of soup, and then have an empty bowl to take home to remind them that someone, somewhere is hungry. You can purchase your bowls at Joplin Greenhouse and Coffee Shop on 32nd Street in Joplin.
So we're here at Joplin Greenhouse and Coffee Shop, and we just started our pre-sales for the bowls for the 9th annual Empty Bowls event. We are here during Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, Saturdays 10 to 2, and we are here raising money for local hunger relief. And we are going to be here through next Saturday, October the 9th, selling bowls pre-sale.
This event supports organizations that feed people, such as Mission Joplin, We Care, the 4 States, Hope Kitchen, and watered gardens. The Miami Oklahoma High School band today boosted the spirits of the frontline heroes at INTEGRIS Hospital. The band gave a special performance to workers to honor their tireless efforts providing care during the pandemic. One band member says it's nice to give back.
Because they've pretty much done the most they've taken care of us and they have supported us, and we're just thankful for them doing our jobs and keeping us healthy.
The Miami band performed at the South Entrance Circle Drive of the hospital. Deep divisions on Capitol Hill surrounding two big pieces of legislation. House progressives are standing together in their opposition of voting on an infrastructure bill until there's an agreement on a massive social spending package. Fox's Madeline Rivera has the latest now from Washington.
It is crunch time for the president, making a trip to Capitol Hill Friday to move negotiations along on the bipartisan infrastructure bill and a multi-trillion-dollar social spending and climate package crucial to his domestic agenda. Democrats have been divided all week, but say they're making progress.
He believes it's the right time for him to go up there. These are his proposals.
Talks are swirling that the top line figure has gone down from $3.5 trillion to roughly $2 trillion in an effort to appease moderate Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Manchin says he's willing to support a $1.5 trillion bill. However, several progressives say a framework agreement on the social spending isn't enough.
The reason I want to vote is because I want to be assured that there is no delay.
Until then, they say they won't vote on the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi did not bring the bill to the floor for a vote Thursday night. She's not releasing more details, simply telling reporters Friday,
I have a very important thing. I'll come back there later.
And to make things more complicated, Sinema is in Phoenix, where she's reportedly continuing remote negotiations with the White House. Still, it puts the timeline of a vote on the reconciliation bill in question.
If we fail on either or both, that is going to be very damaging to Joe Biden's presidency.
3,700 Department of Transportation employees have been furloughed because surface transportation funding lapsed when the infrastructure bill didn't pass on Thursday. But lawmakers are working on a separate bill to reauthorize those programs. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
Pharmaceutical giant says its COVID-19 antiviral pill cuts the risk of hospitalization by 50% in coronavirus patients. Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis has the details.
Drug giant Merck seeking emergency use authorization for the first ever oral treatment for COVID-19. Their antiviral pill is being described as Tamiflu for COVID. It's in phase 3 trials, and Merck says it reduces the risk of hospitalizations and death by 50%. The significance here, while most treatments are taken through infusion, Merck's treatment could be taken orally at home, reducing the burden on hospitals across the country. The government expected to order 1.7 million courses when and if authorization is granted. At Regeneron, they've developed a drug cocktail of their own that is proven to be effective. So effective that the government just ordered another 1.4 million doses of their antibody treatment. Now, as state, local, and federal lawmakers push vaccine mandates, strong therapeutics to treat those infected could be equally as important. That's what one of Regeneron's top scientists, Alina Baum, told us. Listen.
I think we learned a very important lesson with Delta, showing us that vaccines, which undoubtedly are absolutely critical, they do not protect everyone, and some individuals will still be at risk of these severe outcomes. Two things go together. You cannot substitute a therapeutic for a vaccine, but you can also not dispense with therapeutics.
An HHS spokesman saying that the government shipped out twice as much monoclonal antibody treatments in September as it did in August. And now, deaths from COVID-19 leveling off. That's the good news. In Tarrytown, New York, Jerry Willis, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9, and Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Kenneth Bray served in the U.S. Navy from 1943 to 46. Native of Carthage, Missouri, Bray was in the South Pacific. We are proud to thank and salute Fireman First Class Kenneth Bray. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heady's next with a complete look at the forecast. And later in sports, Pitt State and Missouri Southern football preparing for their first meeting since 2019.
It's definitely turned out to be a pretty good Friday for us so far today. Temperatures not that bad as we went right around 80 degrees for an afternoon high, which, hey, we'll definitely take very close to where we should be for this time of the year. Nice live shot of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. We have been watching some scattered thunderstorms throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours, but not near as widespread as what we have seen over the past couple days. Most of these guys have been in our far eastern counties, and we still have a few little thunder showers out there across McDonald County and then down through Berry County. But you can see these are very tiny little guys, and that's it. Besides these little thunderstorms popping up, most of us are dry, but I do think this is going to change, especially after midnight. For us tonight, we're going to start to get scattered showers and thunderstorms popping up, increasing in southwestern parts of Missouri. So first off, here's about midnight. As we go through the overnight hours, you can see these thunderstorms increasing. Some of these could be strong, not really looking for anything severe, but we could see some stronger storms dropping some heavy amounts of rain. So here's 3:30 in the morning. As we continue through the morning hours, this first batch is going to push through. So here's 7 a.m. We'll get a little bit of a break, 2-3 hours, and then more thunderstorms will start to increase back to our south and to our west. So we are going to get more rain over the next 24 hours. Outside right now, we're sitting mainly 70 to about 72 degrees, so it looks pretty good. Here's 7th and Rangeline, currently 72. South winds are light. Our humidity is still up there. So again, we could get a little bit of patchy fog across the region as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. But what's causing our showers and thunderstorms over the past couple days is this weak little upper level low. You can see the little twist in the radar, and it's this batch right through central parts of Texas, or at least the panhandle of Texas, that is going to head toward us. You can see the spin. So as this spin heads toward us, we get showers and thunderstorms. Once it passes by, then we start to dry out, and the second half of the weekend looks pretty good. So again, showers, thunderstorms increase for us late tonight into tomorrow morning, and then late morning we'll start to see thunderstorms increasing again. So this will be our second batch. These are going to last until late afternoon. Most of these will shift on by, and then tomorrow evening and night we'll get a few more showers on the backside that will rotate through. So it's not going to be the best of days tomorrow, but at least it's the weekend. 63 to start, 75 by noon, high temp, right around 79 degrees during the afternoon. But it does get better. We have a random shower or two tomorrow night, but as we head into Sunday, looks good. We get mostly sunny skies, temperatures right back up into the mid to upper 70s for highs, which we'll definitely take. 79 tomorrow, 79 Sunday, and a pretty good stretch of weather for our first full week of October next week.
Yeah, like you said, tomorrow is a wash, a good part of the day anyway.
Yeah.
But Sunday
looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks so much, Doug. Coming up, how some technology could be used against U.S. soldiers.
Technology used to help the military track its guns could be used by their enemies to track their soldiers. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer with more on that story straight ahead.
1 month after the nation's most restrictive abortion law took place in Texas, a federal judge is considering whether to block enforcement of it. The law bans abortions as early as 6 weeks before most women know they are pregnant, and it allows private citizens to sue people who help patients get an abortion. It's not immediately clear when the judge will issue a ruling, but said he would give the matter, quote, careful consideration. Making sure guns are properly accounted for sounds like a safe and responsible idea, but experts say tracking devices on military firearms could be making the guns, and soldiers using them for that matter, easy targets. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer reports.
The military's use of tracking technology on its guns could be putting our soldiers in danger. That's according to new findings from the Associated Press, which says radio frequency identification, or RFIDs, on some firearms can be used by enemies to locate U.S. troops during a battle. Currently, the Army and Air Force are using RFIDs to help prevent guns from being lost or stolen. Officials say the technology also saves soldiers thousands of hours when it comes to taking inventory.
Trying to count things and label it by serial number, you can overlook something.
But while running several tests, cyber experts found RFID scanners can pick up the location of guns out in the field across various distances.
Once you have the tag number, you can now track that tag wherever it goes.
And it doesn't stop there. Experts say enemies could use RFIDs to monitor military bases as well.
There's the threat of being able to use the tags as a proxy for information about who's on the base. So when you see a large number of tags exiting the base, there's less people on the base.
Officials at the Department of Defense don't support wide use of RFIDs except in certain circumstances, like tagging guns used at firing ranges. They are also against installing them on weapons used by active servicemen on the battlefield. The Marines are against using such tracking tools, and Navy officials announced this week they won't move forward with plans to install them. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
All right, so we've talked about this before, yesterday actually, but next, more experts share their recommendation and worry about this year's holiday shopping.
If you haven't started your holiday shopping before Halloween this year, you're behind. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. Coming up, I'll explain the economic reasons that consumers should be running to the store right now.
Holidays are months away, but supply chain experts are sounding the alarm, telling consumers to start shopping now, because store shelves that are already short on stock could be even more bare once the Christmas crush gets underway. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively is in Washington with more.
If you thought holiday shopping has been rough in past years, just wait. Actually, don't wait. Financial experts are already warning of shortages.
For the holiday season, I think I would recommend everyone to go ahead and buy those hard-to-get items now versus waiting until the holidays.
So, what's the reason behind the delays this holiday season? It all started with, what else? The pandemic. COVID first caused slowdowns, then shutdowns at factories in China and Vietnam.
COVID is the underlying factor that commenced back in the spring of 2020 and continues to have a negative impact.
Then that impact snowballed. Factories trying to catch up making toys and presents have led to a backup of container ships trying to deliver them. Now many of those ships are stuck in the waters outside some of America's largest ports. In fact, large retailers like Home Depot and Walmart have rented their own shipping containers and are moving product through some lesser-used facilities. Another problem, the worldwide semiconductor shortage has halted or hampered production of everything from video games to cars to phones. And finally, if you order your gifts online, expect even more delays. Starting Friday, instead of first-class mail taking 3 days to arrive anywhere in the U.S., it could take up to 5. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
All right, coming up, going to learn what happens when you fly a drone too close to, some hungry crocodiles. Crocodile leapt out of the water, and sunk its teeth on a low-flying drone at a wildlife park in Darwin, Australia back in May. Australian Broadcasting Corporation camera operator Dane Hurst was flying a drone at CROCODILE Park as part of a documentary on the 50th anniversary of the ban on crocodile hunting in the Northern Territory. And one of the reptiles lunged out of the water and bit the drone, as we just saw. Fortunately, the damaged drone was found by park staff members on the bank of the lagoon 2 weeks later, and the memory card was recovered in good shape to tell the whole story. Crikey! Insert your own Australian accent right there. Crikey! I was practicing during the commercial break. I'll just, crikey. It's as best as it will get. All right, 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. The city of Joplin hosting a retirement party for Assistant City Manager Dan PEKAREK. Plus, the nation's top military leaders facing more questions from lawmakers about the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. Pittsburgh High School Performing Arts Department received an award tonight. The department received the 2021 KSH SAA Performing Arts School of Excellence Award. During halftime of the Purple Dragons football game against Wichita South, officials presented the plaque to students. Big congratulations. Joplin Assistant City Manager and former Health Director Dan PEKAREK will make his retirement official on Monday, but today he went out in style. The city celebrated his retirement with a party. PEKAREK began his career with the city of Joplin back in 1986.
I knew that I wasn't going to be around for a long time, and really the city manager needs an assistant city manager that's going to be here that can commit to a long haul. There's a lot of neat projects that are coming up, a lot of things to be involved with, and I knew that I wasn't going to be that person to be here for a long time.
Today, the Missouri Public Health Association named PEKAREK this year's W. Scott Johnson Award winners, the highest honor presented by MPHA to an individual for distinguished service in the field of public health in Missouri. Well, Americans loosened their wallets for the back-to-school season. According to the Commerce Department, personal spending rose 0.8% in August. That was more than expected, by the way. The rise in spending came as more students returned to in-person learning. Personal incomes also rose 0.2%. A breach at Neiman Marcus. The luxury department store chain says millions of customer accounts may have been hacked. The retailer is now notifying 4.6 million people that information like payment cards, usernames, passwords, contact information may have been exposed back in May of 2020. Florida was down nurses before the pandemic hit, and now a new report released yesterday, Thursday, says the shortage of nurses in Florida could continue for years to come. Fox's Catherine Hawley has more.
It's a demanding and stressful job, and over the last year, 1 in 4 nurses here in Florida left their positions. It's created a healthcare crisis, and we need more nurses.
The pandemic absolutely exacerbated those challenges because of the stress and strain that nurses have been under.
A new report commissioned by the Florida Hospital Association and the Safety Net Hospital Alliance of Florida projects the state will face a shortfall of nearly 60,000 nurses by 2035.
So we've got to shine a spotlight on this critical need and start taking action immediately.
Mayhew says multiple factors are contributing to this grim reality, but the biggest driver is Florida's booming population growth, especially those over the age of 65.
An aging population that has significant need for healthcare services.
To really address the projected nurse deficit, the report says at least 4,000 more RNs and LPNs need to enter the workforce each year for the next decade and a half.
10 plus years seems a long way away, but it's critical to lay the foundation today to ensure that we have kids in 7th and 8th and 9th grade that are interested in pursuing a career in healthcare to become nurses.
She says that long-term thinking is how we can reverse this trend. 9 recommendations are outlined in the report, including room in the education system to graduate needed nurses, a focus on recruitment and retention, and improving pass rates on the nurse licensing exams.
This is going to take a public-private partnership, collaboration across many organizations and state agencies.
Catherine Hawley, Fox 13 News.
Weight loss should be the focus of managing type 2 diabetes. That's according to a new paper published in The Lancet. Researchers say weight loss of 15% should be the main strategy for diabetes because it can slow progress of the disease, even reverse it in some cases. Smoke is still clearing tonight after explosive testimony from the president's top defense advisors on Capitol Hill this week regarding the U.S. exit in Afghanistan. Fox News national security correspondent Jennifer Griffin reports.
It's a real possibility in the not too distant future, 6, 12, 18, 24, 36 months, that kind of time frame, for reconstitution of al-Qaeda or ISIS.
Just one of the stunning admissions from this week's hearings. Signs of collapse began in June, yet the White House did not halt the withdrawal. Documents obtained by Reuters show the Afghan central bank depleted its U.S. dollar reserves in the months before the Taliban took Kabul.
We didn't fully comprehend the depth of corruption.
And yet that corruption was documented for more than a decade by the Special Inspector General for Afghan Reconstruction in quarterly reports required by Congress. Defense officials testified no one anticipated the fall of Kabul in 11 days, but they had intelligence suggesting the Afghan government would fall by Thanksgiving.
We all knew that when we pulled the advisors out, when we pulled the money out, that at some point in the future, most said it was in the fall, that the Afghan security forces were going to fracture and the government would collapse.
Asked why they did not begin evacuating Americans and civilian allies sooner.
How to do that and when to do it is really a State Department call.
Today, another private charter plane landed in Chicago with American citizens and green card holders on board. 8 military bases in the U.S. are housing 53,000 Afghan evacuees awaiting further screening.
100% of the Afghans are COVID tested and 84% have received COVID vaccinations to date.
All received the MMR measles vaccine. 4,000 are ready for placement in American communities, among them this Afghan Air Force pilot currently at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin.
I got my pilot training in the United States. I was in San Antonio 1 year in Alabama. Wherever I find a job, I want to live in the United States.
Hundreds of U.S. military veterans have volunteered through private veterans groups like Save Our Allies to provide services to these Afghan evacuees at 8 U.S. military bases. They began arriving this week to help the Pentagon and DHS. Some of these Afghans may be on these military bases until spring. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
A bit later, another impact of climate change.
Fall foliage could soon become a thing of the past. I'm Kevin Cork with more on what scientists say is limiting our chances of seeing the changing colors of autumn. That's coming up.
Well, it's turned out to be a pretty good Friday for us today. Most of us ended up on the dry side, even though we've had some scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly in our eastern counties and southwestern parts of Missouri. But most of us look pretty good. Live shot of Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo's just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, at least we squeezed in most of the high school football games. There were a few games in southwestern Missouri where we had to dodge a few thunderstorms, but most of us have looked pretty good over the past several hours, and you can see a few little scattered light thunder showers right across parts of Lawrence County, Berry County, and then kind of stretching back into McDonald County and southwestern parts of Missouri. But that's it. Everybody else is dry, but I do think these are going to start to pick up as we go through the next several hours. Here's 1 a.m. Hit and miss scattered thunderstorms, but they increase a bit as we go through the overnight hours. So here's 4 a.m. Most of these are going to be along I-44 and then into southwestern parts of Missouri. So we're going to get this batch of scattered thunderstorms late tonight into tomorrow morning. So here's 7:30 in the morning, a little bit of a break. Then here comes our second batch by the time we head into late morning, early afternoon. So here's 10:30. You can see a pretty good batch of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these storms could be strong, but I'm not expecting anything severe. So that's good news. Until then, we look okay. Look at our temps, upper 60s to near 70 right now. Heading outside, 7th and range line, 72. South winds at about 5. Humidity is at 84%. So we could see a little bit of patchy fog across the region once again for us tonight. But these showers and thunderstorms all caused by this upper level low. So we're kind of on the leading edge, but you can see the twist on the radar here. And here's our next batch of showers and thunderstorms right across central parts of the Texas Panhandle. And once this low passes by here in about 24 to 30 hours, then our rain chances will subside, at least for 2 or 3 days, maybe a random shower by the middle of next week. But we are going to get more scattered thunderstorms for us tonight, and then late morning into the early afternoon, scattered showers and thunderstorms. We'll see a break during the evening hours. And then on the backside, we'll get a few scattered thunderstorms once again by the time we head into tomorrow night. But as we head into Sunday, looks great. We're going to have plenty of sunshine. Temperatures fantastic, upper 70s to near 80 degrees. So at least the second half of the weekend is shaping up pretty good. All right, rainfall amounts with this next batch, 1/2 inch, 1/10 inch, I think on average for most of us, which we can use it, and we're going to have a pretty dry stretch next week, so it's good to get a little bit of rain. It does stink that it's on a Saturday, but that's what we get. 79 tomorrow, 79 Sunday. Temperatures kind of hold upper 70s to near 80 most of next week.
How many times have you said that? It stinks, but
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Yeah, I can't do anything about it. So.
Doug Eddy, thanks so much, man. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano is erupting for the first time since May. The volcano began spewing lava at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park Wednesday afternoon. Officials say people living nearby on Hawaii's Big Island are not currently in danger from the eruption, thankfully. The volcanic activity is entirely within the boundaries of the park, but the eruption itself could last months, we're being told. Geologists are now closely monitoring the volcano for any further escalation. I don't know how to pronounce that volcano, by the way. Did as best as I could. Coming up in sports, we're going to hear from the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus, on Andy Reid facing his former team this weekend. Plus, Brian Wright and Atiba Bradley preparing for their first meeting Saturday in Joplin. Going to hear from the two head coaches next. The breeze is getting cooler and the days are getting shorter, a sign that fall is here. But one thing that helps make this season so special could be dwindling. Fox News correspondent Kevin Cork has more on what's threatening fall foliage.
Bright colors.
They're gorgeous, prettier than we've remembered them in years past.
And dramatic, vibrant hues.
It's like the mountain is on fire. It's really cool.
The changing of the leaves during autumn is loved and admired by many. But according to research collected by the Associated Press, this sea of striking shades could soon become a thing of the past, as increasing wildfires, droughts, hurricanes, and global warming brought on by climate change are attacking our forests. Because these extreme temperatures and natural disasters are happening more frequently, scientists say they're damaging the leaves before they even have a chance to change their colors. Climate activists say enough is enough.
We're behind, and we have to stop the BS.
Speaking at this week's Youth for Climate conference in Italy, U.S. officials say the world needs to implement cleaner energy solutions at a more rapid pace to combat climate change.
We have to build forests 5 times faster than we are today. We have to stop coal 5 times faster than we are today. We have to deploy electric vehicles 22 times faster than we are today.
However, environmentalists say their fears are already becoming a reality. In Maine, for example, the state's peak foliage season actually begins at the end of September, but this week officials there say fewer leaves are changing colors compared to this time last year. I'm Kevin Cork, Fox News.
Coming up, going to check out a new movie looking into the early years of some familiar Sopranos characters. Sopranos concluded its iconic run. The story of Tony and the family continues with The Many Saints of Newark in theaters and on HBO Max October 1st. We have a preview of the new Mamba movie with its stars. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Antonio Soprano.
The Many Saints of Newark starts its story in the 1960s during the city's race riots and a time of rival mob families battling for territory. It's where audiences find a past full of familiar characters, including a young Tony Soprano, played by Michael Gandolfini, son of the late James Gandolfini.
What aspects did you find were the same in your version of Tony Soprano and your dad's?
Besides from the obvious, which would be physicality, like holding my shoulders in a way, I really learned how to use my eyes in a way where he would have his head down. I knew that if I embraced his physicality, the audience would really see a lot of Tony. And then I would have much more room emotionally to completely be different than him.
At the center of it all, Christopher's father, Dickie Moltisanti.
I always had this longing to be with Christopher more. And this was kind of that opportunity.
He's kind of like trying to redefine himself in some new way, but he's not really sophisticated enough to know what that is. On the other hand, he's totally, part of that cycle of violence that he can't really escape.
And while series fans can reminisce, the cast says the film stands on its own.
You don't have to be a fan or even know about the series to appreciate the movie.
When David Chase's name is attached, you're in the hands of a real auteur and a real visionary. And so it's exciting that we have more possibility now with this movie.
Could there be more chapters to this? Could there be?
There could be, yeah.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a baby kangaroo taking its first hops. Come on, you can do it. Come on. There you go. Hey, have a great, safe weekend. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.